Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. Why do we call it the Raw Life Health Show? Because I am a raw food chef. I at one time had the world's biggest raw food restaurant in New York City, which is important because we have the world's biggest people in New York City. Well, there's big people everywhere because you're just eating too much, too late, and too often. But if you're eating good raw food, you can get away with that for a little while before it catches up to you. And what is good food? Let's look at an example of salad dressings. Many times people eat a healthy salad, but the dressing they put on top of it is very unhealthy, and it usually creates a tremendous amounts of problems with their weight, with their overall health in general. Well, we're going to make simple, easy, good tasting salad dressings right now. And I just looked around the kitchen, looked around the yard, and saw what we had laying around, and I figured I'd want to show you how we did it because I want to have a salad for lunch today. So making a salad is quite simple. It's just taking whatever greens are available, and I got a whole field of greens in my yard, and also adding maybe some avocado, some tomatoes, whatever salad ingredients you want. But what the secret and the key to a good salad is what you put on it, the dressing. Now sometimes I just enjoy some olive oil and just that's it. Olive oil and maybe a little bit of Celtic sea salt, some lemon juice. Another thing I often enjoy is dulse seaweed with lemon juice. That's great also. But today I wanted to get a little bit more exotic of that, and I thought of a sesame ginger dressing. Now a lot of times people will make carrot ginger dressing, which is very easy to make, and I'll make that on a future episode of the Raw Life Health Show. But we roll a little bit different here at the Raw Life Health Show. And we're going to get a little bit exotic. We're going to do a sesame ginger dressing. So the first thing we got our blender here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our ginger. So we have our ginger root. And we're just going to, and the sizes, I'm just going to go by taste. I'm going to put this stuff in, and this is what I recommend. And then, later on, if we need to add more salt or more garlic, we could do that later. But you always put a little bit of each in and then see. But we just got a little piece of ginger here. We'll put that in. The next thing I decided was I want to have a little coolness to it. Because it's going to be a little heaty with heaty. That's a great word, right? It's going to have a little heat to it because of the curry I'm going to be using. But I'm going to put some yellow pepper in here. So we got our yellow pepper. And I just took a sliver, about a quarter of a yellow pepper. The next thing I'm going to do is take lemon juice. Lemon juice, some people can use orange juice if you want to. Orange and sesame are great together. So if you want to use orange instead of lemon or even lime. And the great thing is, as you make this recipe over and over again, you can change the type of citrus juice you use and so on. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take an onion. This is a scallion. It's a green onion. I'm just going to cut off the end here, and I'm just going to use the end of this. Now, usually I use onions and garlic and things like that for Italian flavored dressings. Not as much so for Indian dressings, as much as I would use some exotic spices like curry and turmeric for the Indian dressings. But I'm going to put a little bit of this green onion in here. And speaking of curry, the next thing I'm going to do is going to use a little bit of curry powder. And we can always add a little bit more later, and I'm sure we will for those that like curry. Now, if you want it really spicy, you can put a jalapeno pepper in there, or if you don't want it as spicy, you can put a pepper that's not as spicy. Now, turmeric would be something that might be good in here, but let me get the sesame flavor in here. So we have our tahini, and this is one of my favorite foods. First of all, tahini is very high in calcium, so it's wonderful. But this is on our website on rawlife.com, and it's a raw food tahini. It's all raw. The company is excellent, and this is one of the best tasting tahinis I've found. So we're going to be using a little of this, and this will give it a little of this of an oriental kind of type flavor. So we'll be doing that here. So, and I'm just taking about a teaspoon of tahini right now. I'm going to add a little bit more. Now, obviously, if this was more people, you would add more. But this is just myself and Andrea and Noah right now. I'm going to be eating this. And this tahini is nice and thick. So, as you can see, okay, we got our tahini there. Next thing I'm going to do is, normally we would have some namashoyu, but I'm not using namashoyu. I'm just going to use some sea salt here. So I'm going to take about a half a teaspoon of sea salt. And again, I could always add more later if I want. And then I want to add some green to it. So I'll add this collard that we just got right from the yard. So I'll add this collard to it. Finally, the best thing would have been some sesame oil or hemp oil. But we have some olive oil, and that's always good as well. So we add a little of that. And then we're just going to take some water and blend this up. And we'll taste it, and then we can adjust it later on. So it's always good to have a recipe and go for a recipe, but it's always fun to just kind of get in your mind the flavor you're looking for and get those things that come close to the flavor, put them in a blender and just blend it up, then taste it, and then see, well, what does it need a little bit more of? And then you can kind of figure out and master it. One tip I recommend people, now I'm doing this on video so I don't have to do this, is when you're making these things, write down what you're putting in there. Because sometimes you're not going to love it, sometimes you're just going to like it, but sometimes you're absolutely going to love it. You're going to say, I got to make that again, but you didn't remember what you did. So write it down what you're doing. So we're going to put a little bit of water in this, we're going to blend it up, and we're going to try it and see how it is, and then we'll adjust it. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little bit of water in here now, just a very little amount, and then I'm just going to blend this up here. Just blended this up here. Now before I even open it, let me say something else that would have gave this a nice creamy consistency is an avocado. So that's always great to have if you have one around. So this smells amazing. It smells really great. And now we're going to try it and we're going to see how it is. Now we're going to try it to see how it is. But another thing, before I even try it, I could say a lot of the salad dressings, the commercial salad dressings, have sugar in there. It's probably the first ingredients in many of them. So one of the sure signs that I can make this taste even better, which I'm trying not to do because I want it to taste as best as possible, but I can add a date to it, a couple of dates, and that'll always enhance the flavor. Everyone will love it. But if you're not trying to overdo the sugar, and you want to keep that out, but I think this will be fine just as is, so here I am, I'll try this. I'm fine with it. It can use a little bit more salt, but besides that, I think it's ready to go, and I think it's going to complement the salad I'm going to make really well. The salad I'm going to make, I'm feeling this would be great over tomatoes, so I'm going to try to put some more tomatoes in the salad than I normally would, but I think it's great. Again, if somebody makes this, if they want it spicier, you can put some hot peppers in. If you wanted it sweeter, you can put some dates in, but I like it just the way it is. Alright everybody, so get creative, get in those kitchens, and it's always good to use a recipe book if you want, but you don't always have to. You can just see what's around the house. And sometimes the first try you'll get it good like I did today. Sometimes you might have to add a good amount of stuff to it to get to your taste and to your liking. But we're going to have some lunch now. I'm going to make a salad, pour this over that. Alright everybody, so I was going to put the dressing over a salad, but I came up with a better idea. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to creativity. We have the wonderful, amazing dip that Andrea made for me. She surprised me with, and it was out of this world. And then we also had the pumpkin dip that I made for Andrea, and you could tell it was out of this world as well. So we had those, and then we had the dressing that we made. So we had these three things, and I was going to put it all together in a salad, but I decided even better idea. Enchiladas. Raw enchiladas. Now, you could make a shell for enchiladas by just making like a thick smoothie of any consistency and pouring it over a dehydrated tray, and then it becomes almost like a soft shell the following day. But we're going to use collard leaves because we believe in eating things as fresh as possible for the most part, and we have so many collards in our yard. So we're going to take a collard green leaf, and just for the show we'll leave the end on, but it might be too hard for somebody to eat, so we'll take that off later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the dip that Andrea made, and we're going to just take about 2 or 3 teaspoons of this, or tablespoons, and we're just going to roll it out. And this is like, it almost tastes like taco meat. It's really great. So we have that. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the sunflower pate that I had made, and this is almost like a crunchy, cheesy consistency thing it tastes like. So we have that. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the dressing I made, which is just like a creamy, really creamy sauce. So we're going to take this dressing and we're just going to pour it right over that. And then finally, to make it even look better, we're going to take some hemp seeds, and we're going to take the hemp seeds to give it even more of a cheesy enchilada flavor. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to take 3 tomatoes here. Well, it's 1 tomato. We sliced it in 3 parts here. And we're going to take some tomatoes here and just roll that on that. And then we're just going to roll it together like this. And we'll take off the end. And there you have a beautiful looking enchilada. And I just had one, and it is amazing. And basically, here's how it looks before you roll it. And then you roll it up. I'll show you again. You just roll it up. You roll it up, take the end off, and then you got a delicious enchilada. It tastes like there's a creamy meat, cheese dressing inside. Well, it's all raw, vegan, and delicious and good for you. So everybody, enjoy this enchilada, raw enchilada recipe, and we'll see you again soon on the Raw Life Health Show. Have a great day and a great raw life.
You want an enchilada? Yeah. You like enchiladas?
There you go.
Can you say Raw Life Health Show?
Yeah.
Say Raw Life.
Yeah.
Brighten up your life.
Okay.
You want a bite?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.